So Scott Robertson has just announced his All Blacks lineup to take on the English this weekend. There are not many surprises across this 23-man side. In fact, you'd say the biggest surprise is that Anton Lienert-Brown is back off the bench in this matchup. But overall, some expected changes in injury return for the skipper in Scott Barrett, but we'll be looking through at the lineup in this video. Jumping into the front row, it is Ethan de Groot, Cody Taylor and Fletcher Null. No changes from what we did see last week and the week prior. It is the one that the All Blacks have been sticking with throughout the November internationals. They have got some pretty formidable props in this English squad, including the men making their way off the bench, which I believe is why we see Scott Robertson sticking with Taukei'aho, Tossie and Tamaiti Williams as those front row reserves to give the All Blacks a decent finish to this match. As well as the start in the locking duo, this is where we see the return for Scott Barrett as the number 4. He did suffer the leg laceration in the game up against Ireland, but he is now recovered and he is back in that starting lineup, partnering with Fabian Holland does slot in. As the number 5, Josh Lord, he did very well in that match up against the Irish, as well as the match last week up against Scotland, but he moves his way back to the bench, which means no Sam Darry for this match. Against England in the loose forward trio, we do see the switch. Simon Parker comes back in as the blindside flanker. Number 7, back to vice-captain. It is Ardie Savea, and then number 8, Peter Larkai. So just that one switch. Wallace Satiti, he will be making his way off the bench as an impact player here. Parker, he took a bit of a knock in the game up against Ireland. Now, I don't know if it was ever confirmed if he was actually fully concussed or just took that little bit of a heavy knock, but either way, he is back in that 6th jersey for this contest. In the 9-10 combination, no changes for the All Blacks here. Number 9, Cam Roigard, and number 10, Beauden Barrett. Some were expecting to see Damian McKenzie given the opportunity here, but instead he is still that impact man to make his way off the bench, a man of the match performance in the game up against the Scottish, and more than likely we will have to wait until around that 60th minute before we see Damian McKenzie take to the field. Out on the left wing, this is where Leicester Fainanuku does fill in for Caleb Clark. Did suffer a concussion in the game up against Scotland. In the midfield, Quinn Tupaia, he keeps his jersey in the number 12 spot with Billy Proctor on his outside. It is a midfield combination that we haven't actually really seen for New Zealand, only very short stints. So it will be very intriguing to see how this midfield duo does from the very start of a contest, definitely up against a very capable backline of the English, but they will have to be on their A game, and this could be make or break for Billy Proctor as a number 13. Number 14, this is where we do see the foot tripper himself, Leroy Carter. Now, hopefully that is not a nickname that is going to stick, but he did have a little bit of a lapse in judgment in the last contest up against Scotland. We have seen a few yellow cards handed out from just the last week. So the discipline, of course, for the ABs, they'll want to make sure it is a lot better. And Leroy Carter, he's been one of the breakthrough players for New Zealand throughout the year. Number 15, keeping his spot as the fullback in this contest, it is Will Jordan. He is going to be peppered by the high ball. We see Freddie Stewart as well as George Ford in the English backline. So that is where you need someone who is safe under a high ball. And that is actually something that Will Jordan has done incredibly well throughout November, as well as the back end of the Rugby Championship competition. Off the bench, like I mentioned, Samisoni Taukei'aho, Tamaiti Williams, and also Basilio Tossie as the number 18, number 19, Josh Lord, and number 20, Wallace Satiti. So this is building upon what we did see in the match up against the Irish, in which the New Zealanders were pretty dominant throughout the final 20 of the contest. Number 21, Cortez Ratama, so once again, does get that halfback replacement role. Doesn't get a huge amount of minutes normally, so we'll have to wait and see if that is any different up against England here. Number 22, Anton Lienert-Brown. That was the curveball of this whole All Blacks lineup. We knew that there was more than likely going to be the return of Scott Barrett, Leicester Fainanuku to the left wing. Not a huge surprise. Some thought maybe Rieko Ioane would fill in that role. I actually thought we'd see Ioane make his way off of the bench in this match, but they've gone with Lienert-Brown. He's got a lot of experience. His last couple All Blacks performances have been a bit shaky, normally receiving a yellow card from those games, so he will definitely have to sort that discipline out here. And then number 23, people are very glad to see this man somewhere across the 23-man side, and that is Damian McKenzie. He's been saving the All Blacks bacon multiple times throughout the last little while, and he may have to do it again up against England here. But that is Scott Robertson's 23-man side to take on England this weekend at Twickenham Stadium. 4:10 a.m. kickoff here in New Zealand. We will be doing the coverage on the channel as well as a preview a little bit later on to discuss who I think will win this match as well as the key players for these two sides. But of course, let me know what you think of this lineup in the comments down below. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all for the next one.